So, good morning, dear students. Sorry, good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Shekhar, for the confirmation. So, we'll start today's session. So, right. Today, we'll be talking on demultiplexer protocol. We call it as UDP, user datagram protocol, and reliable byte stream protocol. We call it as TCP. So UDP and TCP are the two protocols that we are about to discuss in today's class. Okay, first of all, let us see what is UDP used for. So simplest possible transport protocol, normally, which will extend host-to-host delivery of services for its underlying layers. So into process-process communication. Normally, you have multiple processes that are running on application layer. All those application layer supports this process-to-process communication using UDP. And there are likely many processes running on the host. That's what many processes will be running. So all these processes wants the underlying layers to support. So our computer itself, it is a multitasking computer. That means so many tasks, many processes are running simultaneously, and certainly they use a network. So when multiple processes are running, definitely multiple packets are being transmitted for each process. So obviously we need a supporting protocol underlying. So this protocol, that is UDP, supports multiplexing of all these packets and transmits, and at the receiving side it will demultiplex and gives back the data or a relevant packet to them. So that is what we discussed. Apart from this, actually, so this requirement, so it also adds no functionality, and of course there is no requirement for connection establishment or acknowledgement or anything. So it's a simple demultiplexing protocol, and it is also called internet user datagram protocol. And of course here is the the frame format. Here is the frame format, and okay, observe here, this protocol certainly works with the ports, very importantly. Why ports? You can ask me, sir. Earlier protocols, they were having source address and destination address. Why this UDP protocol working on ports? Just how I said, multiple processes are running, and for these multiple processes, it has to support all these processes that are running in the application layer. So application layer protocols or applications that are running in the application layer uses different ports. For example, FTP uses some port, DNS uses some port, HTTP uses port number 80, and different ports are being used by different protocols. So definitely, so when they use different protocols, uses a different port numbers, and of course it is very easy for UDP to handle them. So that is one very important thing. So the only interesting issue in such protocol is that the form of addressing. It identifies the target process. Process-to-process addressing is done through ports. That's what we see. So process-to-process address, they will identify based on the port. Okay, and specific ports are mentioned, and specific ports are being used. Specific ports are assigned, and of course that's how. Even though different protocols or different applications use different ports, UDP can support all of them. So it supports multiple thing. Now, observe one basic idea for some process to send a message to a port for a destination process receives the message in the same port. Suppose if you are using HTTP protocol, HTTP protocol is application layer protocol. And whenever you are running an application in HTTP protocol uses port number 80. And the destination side also it is 80. So only 80 protocol number 80 is used for HTTP. So it becomes very easy. And of course, you can observe very important, the header of the end-to-end protocol that is implementing this demultiplexing function typically contains an identifier. We call it as port at the port sender as well as the destination. So source port, what is the source port it is sending? What is the destination port it is receiving? So that information certainly is required. And notice that UDP port is of 16-bit long, very, very important. 16-bit long. That means 2 raised to the power of 16, 2 raised to the power of 16, almost equal to 64,000 something. So there are 64,000 possible ports are available. So I think 64,000 possible ports means if you assign each port for each process, 64,000 ports can simultaneously use between two senders and receivers. So that's the power of internet that we are having. And of course, fortunately, ports are not interrupted across the entire internet. Of course, one port is not going to affect the other port because of multiplexing and multiplexing that have been implemented very efficiently. So that is why. So this is being used. And of course, that is a process is really identified by the port, some particular host and host port and host I, a pair. So we certainly have a port, we've been assigned. In fact, this pair continues the demultiplexing key. So along with the port is used when some application or when some application protocol uses some port. Along with the port, it will also use some demultiplexing key. So that demultiplexing key is called host I. So this host I is being sent along with the message, and of course that is being used by demultiplexing at the receiving station. So that's how your UDP certainly works. And the next issue, how this process learn the port for the process to which it wants to send to the message, how it will understand. So initially the client process will be intimates the message exchange by the server process, and once the client is connected to the server knows the client's port number. So we call it a source port field contain the information regarding the header message, and of course the same port it will be repeated. Hope we remember, we have done a program on what do you call this socket programming. In socket programming, our application, what we are running was working in the same port. So with the same port. So port number, we are using the client port also same, destination port, that is server port also same. So port is the one which certainly uses. In internet, for example, DNS uses port number 53. Your main service port uses, SMTP uses port number 25. And Unix talk to its program accepts the message in port number 517 and so on. There are so many protocols, so many ports are available. So those ports can be certainly handled. And how exactly this entire process is managed. you can see when the message arrives at the destination, okay, the protocol UDP appends the message to the end of the queue. So normally whenever a message comes, so it will be added to the end. You can see here. So all the messages that are coming, that will be added at the end. And of course, you can see should the queue be full, the message is disabled. So once the it will be keep on adding. So here you observe here for this port number, this application is running. So this application, this port, it maintains a queue. This application process, this queue, it is maintains. This application queue is maintained. And if the port, some message comes through that port, so what happens? UDP identifies the right port and it appends. So for each port, there is a queue. Once the queue is full, so it will, ask the sender to stop sending or discards the message. So this is to control the flow. And when the application process wants to receive a message, one is removed from the front. Of course, when the application receives, it removes the message. It removes the message from this queue, this queue, this queue, this queue. So this queue is maintained. Queue is maintained in between the application process and the UDP protocol through this port number. So each port will have a queue, and based on this queue, it is. So if the queue is empty, the process blocks until the message comes available. So this is how it sends. And finally, although UDP does provide one more functionality apart from this demultiplexing message, is to some application process to ensure that correctness of the message. So correctness of the message can be done through this checksum. Yes. So anyhow, the checksum data is available. So using this checksum data, it will identify whether this entire packet information that received is correct or not. So that's about UDP protocol. UDP protocol is very simple. It's mainly working on multiplexing. So multiple applications running in different ports, and each port will be notified to its destination. Same source port and destination port will have the same data transmitted, and for every port, it maintains a queue, and it will give the data or message or packet to that particular port in the queue, and that queue will be utilized by the application process. And it also maintains the checksum. This is the overall summary of UDP. Coming on to TCP. TCP is a reliable byte stream, and it is a more sophisticated transport protocol. Is one that offers reliable connection-oriented byte stream service. So connection-oriented in the sense it establishes a connection between source and destination, and it transmits. It is a reliable in the sense after reaching the packet to the destination will send a response back. So that is acknowledgement back. So that is what you call it as. So such a service has proven useful to wide assortation of application, because it frees the application from having worry of about missing or some data loss. So since it is acknowledged, definitely always, even though it takes some time, no problem, but transmission is guaranteed. Correct? Right. Internet's transmission control protocol is probably the most widely used protocol. And of course, TCP guarantees reliable in-order delivery, very important. In-order delivery in the sense, all the packets are moved in the same order. So until you get acknowledgement, you are not passing the second packet at all. That you know very well, right? So once you reach the acknowledgement, only next packet will be received. Next packet will be sent. Okay. So this is one very important thing that you should know. And it is a full duplex protocol, means that each TCP connection supports a pair of byte streams, one for flowing in each direction. Of course, it's full duplex. Full duplex in the sense, simultaneously one side you can send the packet, another side you can receive the acknowledgement. So both way transmission happens. So that is one very important thing that you should understand. It also includes a flow control mechanism for each of these byte stream that allows the receiver to limit how much data that the sender can transmit at a given time. Yes, until the receiver sends the acknowledgement, sender will not send. So that is in reliable transmission that is there. So with this, certainly we can control the flow also. Certainly we can control the flow of the packets also. Finally, like UDP and TCP supports demultiplexing mechanism to allow multiple application programs to run simultaneously, carry their conversation with their peers. In addition to the above features, TCP also implements a highly tuned congestion control mechanism. We'll discuss congestion control mechanisms in the next upcoming lectures. Right. And remember, TCP is a connection-oriented, reliable. UDP multiplexed, and it is unreliable. Unreliable means that there is no need for acknowledgement at all. At the heart of TCP is a sliding window algorithm. We have already discussed a sliding window algorithm. So TCP generally, works based on the sliding window algorithm, and that is to track for which packet acknowledgement has come, for which packet acknowledgement has not come. TCP supports logical connections between processes that are running on two computers, the internet. Yes, that is a very common thing. And of course, this means that TCP needs to have an explicit connection establishment phase during which the two sides agree for connection and later they exchange the data. That's we have seen in lab number 1 itself. TCP and source and TCP sync destination will first exchange some packets. So connection establishment packets. Once they accept, so what happens? They can explicitly, they can transmit, and the same way they can tear down the connection also. So the connection can be removed based on this tear down the connection. Same way how they establish, same way abruptly it will never disconnect. So they disconnect based on some procedure. They'll intimate each other and they'll tear down. Of course, one of the things that happens during connection establishment is two parties establish some shared state to enable the sliding window algorithm to begin, and connection teardown needed. So each host knows that it is okay to free this state. So during connection establishment state, what happens? Both the sides, sender and receiver side, what happens? They establish a sliding window and later they start transmitting. The same way, while disconnecting, while connection tear down, so they are also same. So both will say okay, so that their connection can be freed out. And once the connection is freed out, their sliding window algorithm stops. So it is just like that. We have to understand. And one of the major questions that have been asked in the examination is, write the differences between TCP and UDP. Very much time they will be asked. The first, TCP is reliable. It means it guarantees the data to the destination. Unreliable because you don't know whether the data has reached the destination or not. Of course, if the data reached also, you cannot tell that it has reached because there is no acknowledgement procedure here. So in TCP, you have acknowledgement procedure. Second one is connection oriented. So it establishes a connection before it transmits. So whereas UDP is a connectionless, it will never establish a connection. It will just send the packets without anything. It will broadcast, it will multicast. There are so many types. So wherein it will do. Further, segment retransmission and flow control through sliding window. Yes. Segment retransmission. That means particularly I want frame or packet number 6 to be retransmitted. Yes, you can ask. It will be retransmitted. And the entire flow can be controlled through sliding window. Anyhow, if the queue is about to fill, what happens? The source will tell the destination, oh, come on, stop. It will never send the acknowledgement for the previously received packets. So if the acknowledgement is not received at the source, so what happens? Source will never release further packets. So that's how the flow can be easily controlled. Whereas in the case of UDP, there is no such window retransmission. Of course, segment sequencing, okay, sequencing of data is the feature of transmission control protocol. That means segment sequencing in the sense packets will be transmitted in a sequence. Packets will be transmitted in a sequence. So one by one. There is no sequencing here in UDP. Yeah, any packet can go in any direction, anywhere, and it can reach the destination. And of course, acknowledgement is required. There is no acknowledgement in UDP. So I think these are all you have already experienced in this one. And TCP provides error checking mechanism, and UDP is checks only error checking mechanism using checksum. Whereas TCP will also checks errors and also checks flow control. So that is very important. TCP is comparatively slower than UDP. Why? Because it has to establish connection. It has to check. It has to wait for acknowledgement. Definitely it is slower. UDP does not do all these things, so it is faster. Retransmission of lost packet is possible in TCP, but in UDP is not possible. There is no retransmission concept at all in UDP. If you get data, okay, it's fine. If you don't get data, it's gone. That's all. So one of the simple, protocols that are comes under this category: SMTP, FTP, HTTP, Telnet. These are all comes under TCP. Your DNS, DHCP, dynamic host configuration protocol that we have discussed. That is sending of dynamic IP address to newly connected computers is a UDP, SNTP, RIP, routing information protocol, voice over internet protocol, video over internet protocol. Your entire video conferencing is working on UDP. That's why sometimes if there is a traffic problem, network problem, you will never get packets retransmitted. Okay, either packet is lost or next set of frames are coming. So with this, I'll end today's class. I think in the next class, we will discuss about TCP header format and connection establishment. So quickly, today we discussed about UDP, how UDP maintains multiplexing and demultiplexing, and why ports are being used, and finally what is the checking mechanism in UDP. The checking mechanism in UDP is checksum, right? It's a checksum, and of course you can certainly discuss finally TCP. TCP is a connection oriented, and it transmits, first it establishes a connection and later it transmits it, and we discuss the differences between TCP and UDP. So that's all for today's class. We will have TCP header format and TCP connection establishment in the next class. Thank you. this entire class video is recorded and it is available in this website. And similarly, we will have the study materials available in this uh, website. So yesterday, I think through CR, I have sent a message, where you can utilize the best utilization of the materials. You can certainly do it. You have to get good marks. So earlier, days, if you want to overcome all those problems of PUC low scoring or degree low scoring or SLC low scoring, so definitely in MCA you should score well. And my vision is everybody should go out with a job. So that is my intention. So for that, every day you have to present in the class. Every moment you should be alert. You should be study oriented. You should understand. You should learn the new things, and you know uh, you have to make best use of your time. That's most important. Okay. So hope all my words gave some insights. Okay. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.